Hello and welcome to the Careers in Mining session. Today I'd like to start by acknowledging that this event is being held on the traditional land of the Watchabolik, Jadwa, Jabwajali, Wagaya and Jabulk people. And I acknowledge all the different Aboriginal countries videoing in today. I pay my respects to the elders past and present and to any Aboriginal people attending this event. Today's session is being moderated and recorded with strict assurances to maintain the privacy of all attendees. This is in accordance with principles of the Privacy Act, in line with the Department of Education and Training advice. I would now like to introduce you to today's presenters. We have James Sorahan, Executive Officer of the Australian Mineral Council, Tim Chase, the Managing Director of the Donald Mineral Mines, and Carolyn Dunning, Engineer at Costerfield Mine, Mallee Resources. Welcome to you all.
My name is Carolyn Dunning and I'm a mining engineer at Costerfield Mine, which is owned by Mallee Resources. So we're near Heathcote and Bendigo, and we produce gold and antimony. So antimony is used in fire retardant, and it's really important for the production of PET plastic, which is milk bottles and drink cartons and that sort of stuff. So Mallee is Australia's largest producer of antimony, and we're one of the smallest mechanised mines in Australia by drive size. So that means that our drives are very small, and so we have to have specialised equipment in order to fit it in the drives. So the rock we mine is called stibnite, and this is what it looks like as a sample, but what it actually looks like underground is if you see the stuff outlined in red here, and then the lighter coloured stuff in the middle here, that's what it really looks like in practice. So this here is what we call a stope. It's how we get most of the ore out. So if the previous picture was looking at it from up here, this is looking at it side on. So what we do is we develop the drives at the top and the bottom, and then we fire out using explosives the ore, and then we bog it out the bottom, and then we build a bundled rock at the bottom. We put mesh tubes down this side here, and then we tip cemented rock over the top, and then we fire the next bit, and so on and so forth. So that's how it works. So I grew up in Queensland in a small town called Kilcoy, where my parents have a beef cattle and lucerne farm, and I went to the local high school. So I have degrees in mining engineering and IT, and I also have a mine manager's ticket. So the reason why I became a mining engineer is because I saw blasting videos. So this is what they look like. So ideally, when you blow things up, you want to minimise the amount of rocks that go everywhere and the amount of dust you create. But they do look very spectacular. So these are open cut ones. They're a lot easier to see what's going on. If I show you what, so underground ones look like this. So that's So the first stuff you see going off is the det cord, and then it goes to the detonator in the hole, which has a set time specified by a chemical reaction, and then the dets themselves go off. So yeah, so that's what got me into mining. So one of the things I love about mining is that you can work all different places. So I've worked in Brisbane, Charters Towers, Mount Isa, near Cloncurry, Broken Hill, Rosebery in Tasmania, and now at Gosfield. So yeah, so I really like getting to go to different places and be part of the community and not just like a tourist in the area. So yeah, I find that really satisfying to do lots of different unique things in different places. So what does a mining engineer do? So we consider safety, practicality, cost and profit, and timing to design things for mines. So one of the main things I see mining engineers being important is from underground you can't really see much. So there's a lot of risks that you can't see. And because we look at it all on a computer and we have it all loaded in there, we can see a lot more of what's going on. And we use this to assess the risks and make sure that we've got controls in place to ensure that everything's safe. So for example, this pillar here isn't big enough. So we didn't let people go in this top drive. So what jobs can mining engineers do? So drill and blast design, which is designing explosions. Ventilation, making sure that people have enough air. Development, design how you get to where the ore is. Scheduling, so you only have a limited amount of people and a limited amount of equipment. So how do you arrange all the tasks so that you can get the ore that you want out in the time period you need to? Project manager, so for example, say if you're installing a new fan for the ventilation system, all the work around tendering it, so getting quotes from different people, all the different parts of the process, for example, getting the cement laid, getting all the parts that go into the fan and getting it all constructed. That's all part of the project manager job. Geotechs look after making sure that the ground is stable enough so that it won't fall in on you. So quite often mining engineers do that role. You can also be a consultant, so advising about what's best for specialised situations, and also covering shortfalls in when there's not enough people. There's also lots of different jobs for managers, from managing technical people and operational people through to underground managers and general managers. You can also be an assessor, for example, for a bank or an insurance company. So when the mining company wants a loan or they want to get insurance out, they send someone out to assess whether they're happy with the risk involved. You can also be a mines inspector, so making sure that mines are following all the safety procedures they're required to follow. So what skills do I use? So I use a lot of communication skills, both verbal and written, because I need to communicate what I think to other people. I also have to negotiate, so we all have to come to a conclusion together that we agree on of the way forward. I use lots of problem solving skills to get around risks that we know are there and what can we do to manage them. I use a lot of computer skills, so Excel for data validation and analysing data and that sort of stuff, and also computer aided design packages, which is taught on site, but you need to be able to see things in 3D to be able to understand what you're looking at. I also do lots of typing. So I really recommend for anyone who doesn't know how to type, that you learn how to type, because no matter what field you go into, there's going to be a fair bit of typing now that everything's online. And so yeah, it just makes things so much faster when you know how to do it, instead of having to use one or two fingers. There's also a fair bit of maths involved in the background of what I do, but mostly it's just done up in spreadsheets and automatically calculated, but there is in the uni course I did. And I also do some programming, mainly Excel macros to make my life easier, but that's not a requirement of the job. So what subjects did I study at school? I studied in Queensland. So the Victorian equivalents, I believe, are mathematical methods and specialist mathematics. And I also did physics, chemistry, English, and computer studies. So my degree required methods, but specialist was recommended, and you had to do an extra subject if you didn't do it. And I also got a choice between chemistry or biology. So I really recommend, if you know what course you want to do at uni, you check what the prerequisites are, because sometimes they're not what you'd expect them to be. For example, my sisters both did medical degrees, and they required physics in their stuff that they require. So it really helps to check it first so that you know you've got all your bases covered. So general prerequisites for the mining industry are you need to be willing to wear the safety equipment at all times. So this will usually include safety glasses, hard hats. For underground will include self-rescuers and cap lamps. So you need to be willing to wear that and like stuff like earplugs and whenever you're required. Be willing to follow instructions because there's a lot of risks. So if you do stuff just willy-nilly, it's quite dangerous. Most states require that you be 18 or over to work on mine sites. I can't find any stuff in the Victorian stuff that says that, but certainly companies that work across Australia or across the world will usually have that stipulation in their stuff. And also a manual driver's license. So the utes that you drive underground are all manual. So sometimes it's not actually written in the requirements that you need a manual driver's license, but it does make things a lot easier when you're learning to drive underground, that you're not trying to learn how to drive manual as well. So this is just general advice. This is not sort of mining specific. But if you do work experience in the field you're interested in, you can see what work is really like, because quite often what it looks like from the outside or what the uni course is like is not what actually the job is like. So it really helps to know that beforehand. Look at where the prerequisites are for the job you want and then trace back to where you are now. For example, if you wanted a job as a underground manager, for that you need a mine manager's ticket. So for that you need a mining engineering degree, and then you can look at what the prerequisites to get into a mining engineering degree, and then work that back to what subjects you need to do now. So if you're not sure what you want to do, you can choose something general in the area you like or are good at school and specialise as required. This is also where work experience can help you narrow down what you want to do. Also, try to get a job where there's someone to learn from and they've got the time to teach you, and they're good at teaching people, because it can make a massive difference in how much you learn. Having a good boss also makes a big difference. Yeah, and who you know and what they think of you also is really important still. A lot of the jobs I've gotten are because I knew people from previous work that I'd done, and they thought that I was a good engineer. So yeah.
Thanks everyone. Just a quick couple of introductory slides now after Caroline, before we hand over to Tim. Just a little bit of background on the industry in Victoria. As you can see from this map, mining's actually a bit bigger than most people think in Victoria, and a lot of it is in regional Victoria. So there are 6 operating mines in Victoria. 4 of them are underground gold mines in Ballarat and Bendigo regions. And we have 2 coal mines in the Latrobe Valley. And there are also 2 smaller gold mines in the northeast. The other thing that we're going to have a lot more of in Victoria in coming years, particularly in Western Victoria, are mineral sands mines. And I'll leave that to Tim to talk to in more detail. Next slide, thanks. So mining's a high-paying industry. On average around Australia, it's about $140,000 a year. Obviously differs on the job, the type of job, but really importantly is most jobs in mining are full-time, and most of them are in regional areas. In Victoria, there's about 11,000 people that work directly in resources projects around Victoria. When you add all the services, manufacturing, and other jobs that are directly linked to mining, like in the MET sector, the mining equipment technology and services sector, then it's about 88,000 jobs. So it's a much bigger industry than most people realise. And the really important thing is that mining is a highly skilled industry, so you'll need TAFE or uni for most jobs. Next slide, thanks. So in Victoria, as I said, we've got gold, and actually there's about as much gold in the ground, we think, in Victoria as has ever been dug up since the gold rush. So there's a long way to go on that. So apart from the gold mines, there's a huge amount of exploration taking place right across the state as well. So there's lots of jobs for surveyors and geologists and others, even in the exploration phase before there's a mine. Mineral sands, we have the largest known mineral sands resources in Australia in the Murray Basin, which goes from southern New South Wales and right through northern and western Victoria. And there are also deposits in eastern Victoria and in Gippsland. Tim will talk a little bit more about that in a second. But also there are base metals and lithium also being searched for in Victoria. Much of the copper, silver and zinc is actually in Western Victoria as well. Next slide, thanks. So the jobs are really diverse in mining. So it's everything from, if you're interested in trades or university. So in trades, it's a lot of jobs that you need for a range of industries: fitters and turners, metal fabrication, electricians, diesel mechanics. So the sorts of courses that you should look at for that are things like civil construction. A lot of those skills are transferable. Surface extraction operations and underground operations specialist courses. There are a couple of places in Victoria that offer them, like Box Hill Institute, but we're hoping there'll be more of those locally delivered in Western Victoria and elsewhere, particularly for mineral sands mining in the coming couple of years. And in the university sector, so they're all sort of TAFE courses. In the university area, like Caroline, mining engineering is really important, but lots of other types of engineering, chemical engineering as well, are important. There's lots of roles for people with those qualifications. Computer science and environmental science. So you can do, in Victoria, mining engineering is offered at 2 universities, at Federation Uni and at Monash University. Environmental science is offered in a lot of science degrees, including La Trobe Uni in Bendigo. The other skills you sort of need, particularly in the trades front, I've listed there. So, you know, forklift operation, working safely at heights, some construction induction card. So there are lots of skills that you can get through other training programs that will be a good start for mining. And school subjects, so as Caroline said, it's really the STEM subjects, particularly if you want to go to those university level courses. So it's science and maths and engineering. Also at VCE, so you can do those at VCE level to the highest level possible. And also there's a special course that some high schools offer at VCE level, which is now called environmental science. It's sort of an earth sciences course, so that gives a good basis in geology and that sort of thing. So that's a pretty good start as well. The Minerals Council has a careers guide, which is online at that website, so I'd encourage you to look at that.
Thanks, James. Welcome all. Quick introduction to myself and my story, which now I sit with a company which is Astron Global, and we have our deposit and project in Victoria, which is a mineral sands project, and hoping for the future for that to be a mineral sands operating mine site. My story commenced in underground operations as a junior. I was in the agricultural sector and decided to join the mining industry through an apprenticeship process. So I joined the mining industry as an electrical apprentice in underground and surface operations. I completed my apprenticeship and then took on other interests and roles throughout the mining industry, and then stepped across into a shared role, which was a maintenance role and operations role. So the operations was the underground mining, like Carolyn shared earlier, which gave me upskilling in both environments, from an engineering, maintenance, mechanical, electrical and operations. Again, through researching and gaining support through the mining companies, I then changed roles and then took on extra courses which were sponsored through my employer, which took me down the leadership pathways, and then eventually down through some university courses in business and operations management, and certifications and diplomas in supervision and frontline management, and eventually working my way through to underground superintendents with some more upskilling and experience, then on to mine management, and now took a jump to mineral sands mining several years later, which again upskilled, more university, which was sponsored through my employer. And now I travel the world looking after global operations in mineral sands from the US to West Africa, Australia, and also China. So it's been a very, very good industry for myself. None of this was mapped out when I was at school. I guess I took the challenge on board and kept upskilling along the way. So there's no right or wrong movement in the mining industry from an entry level. You can make it what you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do in the mining industry within reason. But if you're a keen advocate for mining and upskilling, I guess the world is your platform. It's a blank canvas for you to develop yourself to become whatever you want to be. So in the mineral sands industry, there's multiple facets of roles that are very similar to other general community employment roles. A lot of the skills are transferable. Our products that we produce through these operations go into a lot of everyday uses. Now these uses, extend from medical X-ray equipment through aircraft engines, paints and ceramics, our smartphones, our computers, renewable energy systems, whether it's solar, wind, batteries, electric cars, robotics, makeup and toothpaste, and also confectionery in lollies. And then also the medicines that we buy in our pharmacy all have a component of a product from mineral sands mining. So it's quite a diverse product that is used quite widely, and most people are unaware of its uses. So how to choose a career in mining. Next slide, thanks, Carol. So our various roles at a mine site. Now this is just a very quick snapshot of some of the roles, and all of these can also be cross-pollinated from other industries local. And if we look at some of these roles, and there's mining engineers that Carolyn covered off, but there's geologists and metallurgists, there's general administration, our supervision and management, with our trades and services, and these are all trades, all the way through to plumbers, boiler makers, fitter mechanics, diesel mechanics, electricians, laboratories, environmental officers, environmental management, which is very important, operators, general hands, services, truck drivers, loader operators, graders, excavators. So as you can see, this is just a very quick snapshot of some of the roles, but it's quite diverse. And if you look at a mine site as a community, the community that we live in and we live around, all of the services that allow us to have a community that works, we have schools, we have health, we have the building industry, all of those skills in some way are linked to other industries and support other industries through support services. Next slide. So how to choose a career in mining. Obviously do your research. Sometimes we have a passion and we have a bit of an idea of what we want to do post-school, but investigate that through looking at universities, websites, TAFE, trade school centres, utilise your career advisory support at schools, and even by reaching out and contacting other people that you may know in the industry or people who have worked in the industry in the past. And sometimes the career chooses you. Like my case specifically, I didn't enter the mining industry expecting to be travelling the world today, but through my passion and my willingness to learn more and diversify, I've grown to become who I am today. But to do that, we have to be open to change and experience different roles. And different roles as a young person may well be work experience. It may well be a part-time role at school whilst you're at school, and it may be some traineeship or apprenticeship programs when we leave school. Be keen to advance and upskill along the way. We have legislations and regulations that govern how we operate and how we make everything safe for all of our staff and community. And we have to upskill along the way to make sure that everyone is operating to the highest of standards. Many of the skills which we spoke about are transferable across different industries. So our different skills in communication, in computers, equipment operations, in agriculture, right through to the health, first aid, all these are transferable into the mining industry. And it's never too late. You may take a career choice that takes you down a different pathway, and it may be in local, state or federal government. And these also support mining in some way, shape or form. But these also, again, have transferable skills back towards the mining industry if you decide to in later years. The apprenticeship and traineeship programs, most mine sites offer apprenticeships in a different range of skills, whether it's the electrical or mechanical or boiler making. These are often opened up at the beginning of each year or towards the end of a school year. And again, these are an opportunity for a door to open up into the industry and to do your training. General entry from operators, equipment operators, plant technicians, administration, laboratory, and also contracting services that are utilised within the mining industry with plumbing, gardening, electrical, logistics and transport. So these general entry opportunities often come up and are advertised. A lot of the time, working via a contracting company allows you to be noticed, and it gives you opportunity to meet and learn of other opportunities, and you can grow and develop yourself along these entry routes. And most mining and also mine support services companies sponsor training and development for their employees. It's a requirement that we have to maintain our staff and also our site contractors to make sure that they're operating at their highest level. And through this, you know, it's sponsored training, and there's site training and then there's off-site training. So it's really an opportunity for all, and it doesn't all include digging holes or operating equipment. As James and Carolyn explains, it's a whole suite of opportunities.
Thank you so much, Tim, for that wonderful presentation, and James and Carolyn. You've been very engaging today. I don't have any questions listed at the bottom of the screen there, but I think you've given us a wonderful overview of careers in mining and mineral sands.